Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength BodCast.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Original Strength BodCast. Had a really cool guest scheduled for you this week, but I was supposed to conduct an interview on the same day I was getting furniture delivered, and well, I had a window period of 3 to 7 for the furniture, and my interview was much earlier than that, and the furniture showed up about 2 to 3 hours early, which I'm not complaining. I'm all for underselling and over delivering. However, it did mess up the interview. So we had to delay that for a later time. So this week you get me. And so what are you going to talk about, Tim? That is a good question. I'm just going to tell you some new things in the world of training for Tim. That would be me. So this week I thought I would just share some things I've been working on and thoughts I've been having. So new for me in training is I have started looking into Systema. Thank you, Uncle Pete. I'm Bill. Systema is a Russian martial arts, and I'm not really a fighter. I'm more of a sprinter. But however, I'm starting to think that if I did learn how to fight and I knew what I was doing, it would probably be easier than sprinting sometimes, probably even hurt less. But Systema is really neat because, well, it seems to really stem or hinge upon the breath, the ability to be relaxed, to have good posture, and fluid movement. And, and it's weird about Systema is because I come into it thinking, well, I know how to breathe. I know how to relax. I know how to move. At least I think I do. And that's the problem is I only know what I know. And in a different world, what I know is really not all that helpful, and it actually gets in the way. So I'm having to unlearn everything. Or if I'm going to be successful at Systema, I'm going to need to unlearn everything and forget that I know anything, and just really dive into the process. So I guess there's a life metaphor here for something, and it's weird too, because like just take trying to relax, for example. Like I think I move pretty fluid, and and I feel like I'm relaxed, but in Systema, the way they move, it's purely like their wind or their water, like truly they're forces of nature, and it is a whole different level of relaxation that I'm like, wow, because I don't even know I have tension in my body, right? And I guess most people don't know they have tension in their body, because if they did, they'd probably try to let it go. But even just cognitively trying to let it go is, well, it's not all that easy. And it's almost like, if you're walking around holding on to stuff you don't know you're holding on to, how do you let it go? Anyway, so far, extremely pleasantly surprised about the world of Systema, just because it's neat. It's a challenge. Not that I've done any great deal of training in it or anything. I'm just getting my toes into the water. I've read some books. I went and attended a training because I wanted to physically experience it. And what I have experienced has caught my attention to, if nothing else, to let me know to, hey, forget what you know and try something new. So that's the one thing I'm doing in training. Another thing I'm doing is a lot of rolling, rocking, crawling, stuff like that. I wrote an article a little while back about pick 2 movements, push, pull, hinge, or squat, and then crawl or carry. So I've been doing a bit of that. Some days I'll squat and I'll press, and then I'll crawl or carry, and then some days I'll hinge and I'll pull, and then I'll crawl or carry. And really, to be honest, the most important thing to me that I do is I'm either crawling every day for about 10 minutes of time, or I'm carrying every day for about 10 minutes of time. Those are the 2 things. Whether I push, pull, squat, or hinge, I'll try to, but I really just want to try to make sure I get in my crawls or my carries. And beyond that, I'm doing my daily 21 repetitions of certain movements that I find to be beneficial, and well, they just feel good. And then the other thing I try to do every day, and I guess I have this in common with Dan John, because he talks about it a lot. No coincidence, though. No, maybe it is a coincidence. I don't know. But I walk every day. I try to get in 12,000 steps a day, but to be honest, it's getting cold. And so I'm not always hitting the 12,000 steps because, well, I don't like being cold. Speaking of being cold, this is neat to me. So my hands have been getting dried out, and I've been using this Vaseline Essential Healing Lotion. And look, it says right here on the bottle, it says, keeps dry skin healed for 3 weeks without feeling greasy. So I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but what happens after 3 weeks? So I really have no idea why they would put it on the front of the bottle that it keeps dry skin healed for 3 weeks. And well, why not? Why does it stop? Does the magic go away? Or like, and I will give them their credit. They put an asterisk by that. So I was like, all right, there's an asterisk. That means there must be more information. So lo and behold, I turned the bottle over and it said the jelly deeply moisturizes to keep dry skin healed for 3 weeks. And it says proven after 4 weeks of daily use in a clinical study. So now we're getting 3 out of 4 weeks that it keeps your skin healed. And apparently they thought 3 weeks of healing was pretty good. So they wrote that on the cover of the bottle. But I would hope that maybe we could extrapolate and say, well, it does 3 out of 4. What does it do 6 out of 8? Or does it do 7 out of 8? Or does it continue to heal long after if you keep using it daily? We'll never know, because you know what? Eventually I'll just forget, put it on, and it'll get warm again, and my hands won't be chapped anymore. Or I could just eat more omega-3 fatty acids and try to heal my skin from the inside out. Okay, enough messing around. Going to tell you about some books I've read recently that you may find useful. One was called Burn by Herman Poncer, and Burn is about, it's about how we burn calories. And really it just kind of it attempts to dispel the idea that exercise is how you burn fat and stay lean. In fact, that is not the approach this book takes. It pretty much says it's how you eat. So what's really neat about the book is, there's two things. One is that the body has a calorie burning set point. Like your body wants to burn a certain amount of calories every day, which I thought was pretty neat. So, and what that means though is if you exercise and you burn X amount of calories, if your body has a set point for how many calories it's going to try to burn during the day, is going to there's going to be trade-offs. So you may slow down later. So all the intense burning you do at this one point of the day, later in the day, you may actually get a little bit slower or start to conserve, or maybe you just want to take a nap. Who knows? The point is there's a set point, and every day, even if you are able to create a deficit by how much you exercise in the day versus how much you eat, on that one day, there's still checks and balances where your body will still try to gravitate towards that particular set point that it has, which is pretty neat. The really neat thing about the book was the history that Mr. Poncer goes through, describing the history of how we eat and all the ideas of the history that we think we know about how we ate, like the paleo movement, for example. It's not what you think it is, or it's not what I thought it was, but it's probably not what you think it is either. Fascinating book though. It is worth the listen if you are an Audible fan, and it's worth the read if you actually like to hold books and read them. The other book I've read that I thought was pretty neat was The Mastery of Life, and that is by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And honestly, so Don Miguel Ruiz, I think he wrote the 4 Agreements, and anything that he has written or his son has written, I have found to be useful. The Mastery of Life is just kind of how to navigate through life to find your true self and be true to yourself, and have, be authentic to yourself, for yourself, as yourself. Super easy read. It's a quick read, but it's useful, especially in today's stressful COVID times. I thought it was pretty neat and well done. Anyway, those are the 2 books I have read of late. I'm reading another one right now called, I got one in the queue called The Body Keeps the Score. That one sounded fascinating to me. That one is by Bessel A. Vanderkolk. The Body Keeps the Score. And that was actually recommended to me from a past guest that I had a few weeks ago, when we had the podcast about medicine and spirituality. So The Body Keeps the Score is next on the list. I will let you know how that goes. And if I don't, check it out. It does sound interesting. All right, kids, I don't want to waste your time too much. I just wanted you to hear it from me. There's no real show this week because Home Depot over-delivered. Very, very much so over-delivered. I'm sorry about that. But we do have some great guests coming for you soon. Really fascinating topics. In fact, I'm going to try to have my Systema instructor on here, because it's a fascinating way of life. Actually, some people think it's a martial art, but really, I think it could probably just be a way of life, a nonviolent way of life. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for always tuning in and all the kind words. I hope you find the videos useful aside from this one, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great weekend.